So the reason I became an ophthalmologist in Kenya is that I had specialised in eyes in Britain, which is where I grew up. And I came to Kenya beforehand and fell in love with the country and fell in love with the Kenyan. And I realised that there was such a high prevalence of eye disease and very little was being done about it.
Kenya has a very young population, with more than half of the people under the age of 18. And this creates a unique demographic challenge when addressing eye care problems in Kenya, as most of the patients will actually be children. It is also a very pressing issue because children suffering from a potentially reversible blindness place a huge socioeconomic burden on their families and on the country as a whole. Addressing this problem is one of the main aims of Right to Sight, with which I work.
The reason that there's such a major problem in Kenya is essentially poverty. So when I first came to Kenya, I worked out that there were very few people getting to eye services. I went so far as to go to the Coast General Hospital, which is where anyone from Kwale County would go if they had an eye problem, and they were seeing under 300 patients a year. So I concluded that there was nowhere else that they could go, and something was very badly needed to be done. At that stage, there was 1% of Kenyans were blind. That's 1 in every 100 Kenyans were blind. And 3 times that had significant visual disability. And the shocking thing is that 80% of that is preventable or avoidable.
The gap again between the patients who need eye care and the places and people who can provide it is huge. And to try to shorten that gap, Right to Sight believes in taking a long-term sustainable approach. And the way to do that is to train local eye care professionals. Because Kenya has such a young demographic, the scope of pediatric or childhood eye disease is vast. And the number of eye care professionals that specialize in childhood eye disease aren't enough to meet that demand.
Hamza alikuwa iko na mwezi mmoja. Kile kitu kikaanza kumuingia kwa macho. Kachukua hatua yoyote kumpeleka huku na huku, lakini hakufaulu kutoka. Nikaja hapo hospitali akaambiwa iko na utandu wa macho.
It is very difficult to get a single child from the point of their home, where they are potentially blind from cataracts, to then show up for a treatment such as an operation that can restore vision to them. It requires sometimes up to 16 visits from community workers and providing transport, and then also, of course, after the surgery itself, long-term follow-up with spectacles and maybe patching or helping with any resulting squint or other issues.
Nimeelezewa na Madamu Mary, akanambia kule kuna madaktari wa macho, peleke Hamza akaenda akafanyiwe. Na si mara ya kwanza nilimleta tayari, lakini wakati huo alikuwa mjamzito. Sikuwahi kumtengenezea, nikarudi. Ndio juu jana nakapigiwa simu kaambiwa basi nenda huko unaitwa na Madam Stella, ndo akapigiwa simu ndo akanieleza.
We are grateful to Right to Sight, being that they are supporting 100% this pediatric surgery. Everything from providing the lenses to ensuring the patients are well taken care of while they are admitted at the facility. The same Right to Sight are the ones who took the initiative to come down to Kenya to train us and follow up on the surgical technique that they train us, continuously supporting us, ensuring that we don't lack any supplies. Even if they don't visit, they ensure all the consumables have been supplied, they've been sent down to us, and in a special way, these consumables are brand new. They are not second-hand. So that is just a plus to them. They are not using things and then sending to us like any other provider or any other support.
Through the support of our partners, in the past, we were limited to the days that we would operate our children, because we had only one operating theater, and also a place where to keep the patients was limited. We could not mix our children with the adults. With the help of ACO, we have been able to put a new building for the children to spend over after the operation. This has helped us also upscale our services, and we can now operate on the children as well as the adults.
So what makes Right to Sight's approach unique is that we come and try to support learning amongst the local eye care professionals. And we do this in such a way that we try to set up both teaching when doctors come to visit, but also set up the infrastructure so that teaching will carry on after the visits from Right to Sight's supporting doctors such as ourselves.
Before the Right to Sight, we usually had the students coming in, and they would pay some part of the costs to have the training be done. Part of it was on the consumables and also some bit of training. With the help of Right to Sight, currently the students would come in, there is no payment at all, and they receive maximum training support from the mentors or from the cataract surgeons at the facility.
So after joining, I was proficient in small incision cataract surgeries, but thanks to Right to Sight, within a few months, I upgraded directly into phacoemulsification cataract surgery. And now we are looking into doing more surgeries, more complicated surgeries like Yamana, bag in the lens now. And this, thanks to the team from Norway, we have actually developed ourselves professionally and in every way.
We often set up wet or dry labs where senior doctors with more surgical experience can help teach younger doctors techniques. And we sometimes also bring new techniques into the clinic. We were, for instance, one of the first in Africa to bring the bag in the lens technique to treating pediatric cataracts. This is a unique new approach that leads to much less follow-up and secondary surgeries required in the children.
We are really a privileged facility to have this being introduced into Africa, starting with our facility first. And we like more and more people to learn this, and we hope that this lens will be available in future for other surgeons to use this. I'm really proud of myself. I don't show it, but really proud of myself being the only one who can do the bag in the lens procedure in Africa. And also, these credits all goes to Right to Sight. Nilerics, thank you so much for taking your time to come down and train me. You taught me once, and I've done over 60 in a span of less than 6 months. So thank you so much, Right to Sight, for this.
Right to Sight have given an astonishing amount to East Africa already, but they can of course contribute more. I think one of the most beneficial things that happens is the visitors who come over and look at what we're doing and critique it and improve it. And of course, I'm afraid we need funds because few people can afford to pay for their own surgery. And in fact, the main problem, the reason you asked me at the beginning as to why we have such a high prevalence of blindness here is essentially poverty, where people cannot access affordable quality care. So I'm afraid funds are key, but expertise is terribly, terribly useful.
Thank you very much for your support.